Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. With the Spain News Update, we'll take a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press today in Spain, and we'll also take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently by viewers. Before I begin, a huge thanks to all of the people that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's by buying me a coffee, whether it's through the super thanks option on YouTube, longer term supporters on Patreon, and my channel members on this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that support. Now, straight into the news. And as we know, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez currently in Africa trying to sort out Spain's migration woes. It's the second visit that he's made to Africa this year. Obviously, the first one didn't have much of an effect, so he's gone back again. And as we can read here, Sánchez defends migration from Mauritania. It's not a problem, it's a necessity that involves certain problems, he says. Pedro Sánchez has defended migration and stated that it is essential for the Spanish economy. He has made these remarks from Mauritania, the first stop on his African tour. He agreed with this country to promote circular migration, which involves hiring at the source and to fight against human trafficking networks. He also promised new aid of €500,000. For Spain, migration is wealth, development and prosperity. Despite the discourse that is starting to gain traction in Europe, migration is not a problem. It is a necessity that entails certain challenges, the Prime Minister declared late on Tuesday during a joint press conference with the President of Mauritania, Mohamed Ould Ghazouani, after their meeting in Nouakchott. So there we go, Prime Minister Sánchez defending migration, saying that it is a necessity for the Spanish economy. And as we also saw there, he's promoting circular migration and hiring at the source. But what exactly does that mean? Well, as we can see here, Sánchez plans to fill 250,000 jobs with regular migration to curb irregular migration, and Feijóo, the opposition leader, accuses him of being irresponsible for encouraging a pull effect. Irregular immigration has become a problem for Spain, with territories like the Canary Islands and Ceuta calling for help in what they describe as an unsustainable situation. The mass arrival of people from African countries continues, and the government has already admitted that the autumn will be challenging, with an increase in arrivals on Spanish shores. Among the measures that the government intends to promote to help alleviate this migration crisis is what it calls circular migration or regular migration, training people in their countries of origin to come to Spain and fill the labour needs of Spanish companies in agriculture, textiles and other sectors for specific campaigns or periods of time. These individuals travel to Spain to work with the commitment to return to their home country once the work is completed. So that is the idea that the government has come up with: train people in their countries of origin, bring them to Spain when needed, and send them back once the job is done. And who's the absolute genius that came up with this plan, because they need to be rewarded for their hard work and dedication? Third piece of news now, and the Spanish government has blocked another potential investor in the Spanish economy because it poses a security risk. As we can read here, the government blocks the purchase of Talgo by the Hungarian group Ganz Mávag due to national security risks. The entry of the Ganz Mávag group into Talgo will ultimately not take place. The Council of Ministers agreed on Tuesday to reject the acquisition of the Spanish train manufacturer by the Hungarian consortium due to the protection of Spain's strategic interests and national security. The government has never concealed its concerns about the offer, led by businessmen close to the far-right Prime Minister Viktor Orbán and the Hungarian state through its investment fund Corvinus. Nor has it hidden its fear of the alleged ties between the firm and Russia, with Orbán being the main European ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The government emphasized that the operation, officially presented in March of this year but under discussion since November of last year, has been analysed with full rigour by the Foreign Investment Board, an entity under the Ministry of Economy. So the Hungarian consortium, which wanted to buy the company Talgo, which makes trains here in Spain of course, rejected by the government because it's too close to Mr. Putin and poses a national security risk. And we'll see how many of Viktor Orbán's followers leave comments about this in the comment section section below, because I know there's a lot of you out there. Final piece of news now, and it's that time of the year again when 22,000 people head to the small Valencian town of Buñol and throw 150,000 ripe tomatoes at each other. As we can read here, around 150,000 kilos of ripe tomatoes spread across 7 trucks departed from the Valencian town of Silla to Buñol to turn the streets of the latter into a sea of red this Wednesday during its traditional tomatina, which expects 22,000 attendees. The tomato battle starts at noon and ends at 1 p.m, although before and after there are numerous bars with music and various activities spread throughout the beautiful mountain town located 40 kilometers from Valencia. All the kilos of tomatoes have been produced this year by Frutas y Verduras Masanasa in Silla, Valencia, where they have been planning the production of these tomatoes since the end of April. These tomatoes will serve as the ammunition for this festival of international tourist interest, which brings together people from all over the world with a particularly strong presence from Asian countries. So there we go, 22,000 people throwing ripe tomatoes at each other in the town of Buñol in Valencia, and all I can say is what a waste of tomatoes and time. Now let's have a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently. One here from Paul's: the main barrier to EVs is the cost. That's why they have 30 and 40-year-old cars. That's all they can afford. Yeah, Pauls, thanks for the comment, and you're right. As we know, cost has been one of the main barriers stopping people from buying electric cars. Teslas, not the cheapest cars going around, and some of the higher-end European electric vehicles are not cheap either. But in recent times, cheaper EVs have come into the market, mainly from countries like China, but still not enough, I don't think, to convince people living in small towns and villages here in Spain to fork out the cash for an electric vehicle when their old diesel car suits them just fine. They don't have to worry about restrictions, low emission zones and high levels of pollution like we do in big cities here in Spain. They just crank up the old diesel, let the smoke pour out of the exhaust pipe, and off they go. One here from someone: anyone with experience living in Salamanca, what are the options? Is it a quiet place or a busy city like Madrid? I'm going to study on the USAL in September. Yeah, someone, thanks for the comment, and to put this into some type of context to help you answer the questions posed in that comment, the city of Madrid has around 3.5 million people and the city of Salamanca has around 140,000. So very, very difficult to compare the two cities in any way. However, most cities here in Spain share similar characteristics, especially when it comes to the way that they are designed and the type of buildings that you'll find in the cities. So you will find some parts of the city that seem crowded and can get a little bit noisy at times, I imagine. But what I will say about the city of Salamanca, based on what I saw during my recent trip there, is that the old part of the city seems to be relatively car-free, and I didn't find the streets in that old part of Salamanca too busy or crowded at all. But that was just my experience during the time that I spent there. But if anybody watching has more experience or lives in the city of Salamanca, please leave your comment in the comment section below. One here from Frederick: thanks for bringing the news to us over all these years. How long is it now? Regardless, thank you sincerely for all the effort you've put in. If you ever want to swing by Andorra, where we live, don't hesitate. Gladly give you a personal grand tour. Keep the good work up and stay awesome. Cheers, Fred. Yeah, Fred, thanks for the comment and for the kind words. And if I'm ever in that part of the world, Andorra, I'll definitely look you up. And how long have I been doing these daily news broadcasts for? About 4.5 years, I reckon. I started them when the pandemic began back in March 2020, I think it was, and I've been going ever since. One here from Gran Canaria: given the mountainous landscape, at least here on Gran Canaria, I'm not sure electric vehicles are a good idea. Even my Nissan 2.3 diesel van has to drop down into second gear to get up a lot of them. Yeah, Gran Canaria, thanks for the comment. And I did notice that when I was on the island of Tenerife last year, I think it was, that it was quite hilly and cars do struggle to get up some of those hills. But not sure what the experience would be like in an electric car, given that I have never driven one. But if anybody does have experience driving an EV in the Canary Islands, please let us know what it's like in the comment section below. One here from Ursus: I remember from the 1970s when all Scandinavian youth youth dreamt of a language trip to Torquay Bay over the summer. What happened to all that? Because recent reports say the English Riviera is dead now. Yeah, Ursus, thanks for the comment, and yes, the good old days of the English Riviera when people used to flock to that part of the world for their summer holidays, but no longer, I believe. And why is that the case? Well, one of the reasons probably is that people from the UK can travel to places like Spain and get guaranteed sunshine during their holidays, something that they can't get on the English Riviera. And another reason could be headlines like these ones in the British press. From The Sun, see for yourself, our popular seaside town was once loved by tourists, but now it's a hellhole full of drug users and rubbish. Or this one here from The Express, once booming UK seaside town, furious locals say, has turned into a complete and I reckon some people would read those headlines and think, well, maybe we'll give Torquay a bit of a miss this year because we wouldn't want to be spending our holidays in an absolute But let me know your opinion on why the English Riviera has got so bad over the last few decades in the comment section, please. And the final comment here from Jeremy, quite happy to have American tourists, but complaining about British and others that have kept them going for years. Yeah, Jeremy, thanks for the comment, and I've said this once, but I'll say it again for your benefit. Jeremy, can you hear me? Can you hear me? The anti-tourism protests in Spain are not only about the British. And yes, tourism is important, but the Spanish economy does not depend on tourism alone. But thanks for the comment. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.